morning, good morning. Oops, just this thing. Oh, not the motion in reverse. They're getting close. These guys are serious. They said they were going to be open by Christmas. It looks like they're going to make it. Looks like they're going to make it. They took down the shrouding, the scaffolding, was it yesterday, the day before? It's the new sign is up. It's called the Yamaka Shoten. It's Sakeba Yamaka Shoten. Sakeba, bar. There's a different word. We have the word izakaya, which is bar, and sakeba, sake place, sake location. Yamaka Sakeba, Yamaka Shoten. Looks like they're going to make it. You can see the white, looks like there's white things hanging in the front of the building there. What that is there's wires, telephone wires and stuff all across that intersection. And because there's a truck, there's a, what do you call it? One of those trucks that has an arm that goes up. People are in it doing this sign. Anytime they're doing this, they have to flag the wires so that the guy doesn't hit his truck onto the wires. So. Bucket truck, cherry picker. I don't know these words. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to call the Japanese. But the white handkerchiefs flying in the air, they're to protect the wires, of course. And what's going to be really interesting is to watch when these guys are open tomorrow or the next day, how far out they are going to come into the street. Because that whole street up there, Hoppidori, it's traditional, quote unquote, that the businesses use most of the street. They're only 3 meters deep, these shops here, because of the park behind them. And they come out into the street. But this guy's on the corner. See where that truck went right now? You're going to put chairs and tables out there? No idea. We'll have to see what they're going to do. No idea. And also interesting, that corner business is not part of the group of businesses that go up Hoppidori. He is part of our group. He's a member of our particular Shotengai. He's not a member of the group that's right beside him. This is historical. Those were the lines were drawn. So I'll be meeting this guy at one of our first meetings. Anyway, enough about bars. Okay. What are the flashing lights on the left? Inside the coffee shop there. There's a light that doesn't synchronize with our own camera. So we got some prints. 4, 3, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, you're speaking of Kuniyoshi. We have a Kuniyoshi topic today. Anybody getting background? Yes. Psst. My fan is running. That's it. I have the mic here. There should be no specific noise. Okay, what's the work today? I have 2 choices. I can continue carving, but also I have more embossing to do. You saw the other day embossing some names. We have news yesterday afternoon. I got a nice Christmas present. Great waves, 59 beautiful great waves. And people are waiting for these. So it's sort of my priority to try and get these out as quickly as I can. So I think we'll be doing some embossing first. Are you hearing the laptop mic? Is it turned on? I don't think so. No, there's only 2 microphones turned on. One is on my chest and one is outside. I'll turn off this one just for a second to see what happens. Sound isn't what it usually is. Oh, yeah. Testing. 1, 2, 3. We were hearing the audio from the camera itself. As soon as you plug the mic in, it takes over. Details. Okay, so we will be doing some embossing here this morning. Yamamoto-san, the young boy who sends these things, he thought he'd be funny. He gift wrapped Gift wrapped the great waves for me yesterday. Whatever, can I put on my recording? This is just so well done. We are now pushing 2,000 copies on this thing. And my God, my God, my God, look at this. There isn't a speck of any problem with it. Look at this. The lettering, perfectly sharp and clear. Let's zoom in here. Nearly 2,000 copies. Actually, probably when you count all the test prints and stuff we've thrown away and stuff like that, we're well over 2,000 on this. And look how clean and sharp it is. All those people who are like, you can only get 200 copies of a woodblock print because the blocks wear out and all that blah, blah, blah crap. No way. Nearly 2,000 copies. And it's crisp and sharp. Look at this. All the little, I don't know, parts of the straw here. The guy's faces over here. Yamamoto-san was kind of worried. He said inside the mountain here, some of these blobs, he said they're starting to break down their shape a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, we really care about that. What we care about is the detail, the faces. This thing up at the back, it's famous for breaking. Nearly 2,000 copies. It's time to make a new video about that, actually. Time to do, so John's saying, time to do your comparison to early print. It's when we get to 2,000, I got to get the blocks back. We look at the blocks and we compare print number 1, or one of the early prints, print number 1,000, and print number 2,000. And it's going to be a case of, if you can find the difference, you're better than me. There will be differences. Stuff like this fuzzy stuff at the edge will have a tiny bit of a different shape. But that's it. This big myth that woodblock prints only get 200 copies. Give me a break. Look at this. Anyway, enough talk. Let me get to work here. And he's doing such a good job for us. There haven't been a great wave like this made ever. Ever. The original one, they didn't take this much care with it. Okay, before I start though, something else I have to do. Something else I have to do, something else I want to do. Letters, cards and letters. I recognize the handwriting, it's from Canada. My mother sends me a Christmas card. Are you there, Mom? Oh, that reminds me. If my mother is here, we maybe need some help. She had trouble with her printer yesterday. My mother called me on Skype, or I called her on Skype. Thanks, Mom. Look at this timing. Great waves all around today. My mother and sister. Look at this, cool. Look at this. She must have smiled. She got in the stationery store. She must have seen this and said, "I know where this is going. This is going to Tokyo." Thank you. Good choice. With glitter. So. But now, serious, my mother is here. She says it still does not work. She has a printer problem. Mom, if you can maybe speak up about your problem, if anybody's got any diagnosis ideas. It seems, I thought it was a paper jam. She said the paper's all crinkly, but then my mother said she's straightened all the paper out, and the printer, it just gives her a message, no connection. And we talked through it on Skype yesterday. Unplug, turn it off, plug it all back in, check it back up, kill the printer drivers, start again. We've been through all the normal stuff to get a printer back to life. But it's not happening. So I think the only solution really is to cut and start again. But so I'm saying throw the printer away. So. What do you think about that? Should we do a version of our Great Wave with glitter? I can't make it sparkle again. Get the wrong angle. Thank you. And then, Jacques will probably not be here. This is from Jacques in Holland, a long time friend. He was a collector of my work like 15, 20 years ago, and we've been friends since then. He dropped over here a couple of years ago to say hello. We got to know each other. And he has been sending a little Christmas card every year. Oh, and look at this, look at this, look at this. Do you remember from last year? Wishing you and the Mokonkan staff a healthy, productive, and healthy 2021. But it's one of those art viewers. And the first time he sent one of these, it was a few years ago. It was a few years ago, and it was the Great Wave. And you pick it up, you pick it up like this, and look into it, and squeeze it till you get, oh my God, it's an Escher. It's one of those Escher etchings, and it's been turned into 3D. And I don't really think there's going to be any way to get you guys to see this. Maybe one eye at a time. There's an Escher design in the background there. I don't think it works over video. Jacques, thanks very much. He's probably in bed now, but he will see this on a replay. Thank you, sir. One more tradition. Thank you. Oh, well, Jacques' address on stream. I think it's my address that comes on stream, is it? Whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's get to work. So, no stereoscopic, of course, of course, of course. I do know how it works, you know. So. When we were kids, we had one of those, you know, I guess, whatever. My mum will remember this. It was a little plastic thing, and it had a wheel. And you put the wheel inside and go chuk, 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 and you look to the viewers, and each picture was 2 pictures. And I remember looking at it when we were kids. We'd get that thing out and look through all the wheels and put it back and then get it out a while later and look through all the wheels. Entertainment. Entertainment in 1957. It was great fun. Viewmaster. You typed it wrong, John. Viewmaster. Are you that old? How big is the list for the Great Wave? Don't ask, I'm sorry, I have no good news for you on that. The list is long, and recently now, we're getting about 50 or 60 prints per month, but the list is growing sometimes now by more than 10 people per day. And I don't really know what to say. I have no positive things to say about this. I know. Just, I can't help it, I'm sorry, I can't help it. Now, if it's of any consolation, there is one thing about the list, is although it's growing by something like 10 people per day, when Cameron sends out the mails, not everybody picks up the print. And he's running way less than half, he said. If he's, like, what will happen now is we've got 50 or so, after I count these, we have 50 or so waves here. He will send out the first 50 letters. And there will only be, you know, around half of those people who will say, wow, great, thank you very much. The other half will either not reply or they'll say, thanks, but no thanks. So it's not hopeless, but it's difficult. And here we are. Design, Katsushika Hokusai, Hori Buru Davido, Suri Yamamoto Shun, the young man who printed this for me. So the 3 of us together make these prints. So I've got to get through this, then we'll switch back to some carving. Really, 90s kid had a Viewmaster. Okay, so it's not just the old dudes like me. Okay, good, I had no idea. I assumed it was a legacy of like an old Victorian era toy that was just on its last legs in my era, but no. So the list, we're not upset that those people don't want to print. Of course, it's no problem. So putting your name on the list doesn't mean you have to buy the print. It just means you're expressing an interest in it. And then on the other hand, instead of the silences, there are sometimes Cameron will send it out, and he'll get a reply from someone, and they're just delirious. I mean, they've been on the list for a year or something, and they're just like delirious. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes, 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 yes. We also get, and I have to be careful what I say here, because this person that has done this might even be on the stream here. We got an email a while back from somebody. This was maybe a month before Christmas. And he really wanted to send a Great Wave as Christmas present. Not just to one person, but to 12 friends. Maybe these were business friends, maybe they were family, I don't know, whatever. So he sent an email saying, special big order, can you handle this please? I'd like to get 12 copies. And Cameron just wrote it back first. We have a standard reply to this that, I'm sorry sir, there's a waiting list and it's not so cool to jump, He said, it's okay, I'll pay 3 times, 4 times, name your price, just give me the 12 copies, I need them by Christmas. Cameron sent this over to me. Now, this requires an executive decision, so Cameron sends this over to me. And I'm on a Skype call with Cameron, other employees around, and still there's only one thing we can say, Just how do we find the words? Right back to this gentleman, I'm sorry, sir, we have a waiting list, but we have to honor our obligations to these people, But that's where we're at. 3 times, 4 times the price, I don't care, just give me 12 copies, Actually, I'm exaggerating. His email was polite. Actually, it wasn't sarcastic or anything. His email was polite, but the message was, "Money no object. I want 12 copies, and I want it now." But you can't do it like that. You can't do it. But it is frustrating, of course, it's frustrating. We're trying to pay the bills, If somebody is willing to pay more for a product, the accountants would say, of course, say yes, Dave, what are you doing, But I'm sorry, no. But it does bring up an interesting idea, that actually is, for me to have sent him those 12 copies would have been unethical. That's clear. That's a simple one. It's a no-brainer. But it does bring up an interesting idea. Suppose, because there's such high demand for this, the accountants say, look, just set the price higher. That case, that will bring your supply and demand into balance. You will get much more money for the prints. The consumers will be happy. They would have paid what they wanted to pay for it. What's not to like? By, say, doubling the price or tripling the price. And the reason we're not doing that, of course, is we don't want to be driven by pure economics. The print we feel is worth about the price we've put on the website. And just because demand is high, to me, doesn't make it worth more. Although as a commodity, of course, it is worth more because of the higher demand. So how about get it both ways then? We keep the price as it is. But out of each batch of, say, 50, suppose I just take 5. I'm just thinking out loud here. I pull 5, and I put them on the website on an auction type thing. These 5 copies will go for auction. And if you are one of those people who thinks this is worth more and who would be willing to pay more, go for it. So that way we would keep the regular clients and the regular flow of our business at the normal price. But there would be room for people who wanted to what's the word, jump the line or whatever, and pay for the privilege. And it seems to me that might be okay. I don't see that as being unethical in the sense that it would have been to send this guy the 12 copies, 10 copies, whatever it was. know, I don't think I'm being anything especially ethical or honorable or whatever. This is just a normal way of doing things, you know. You try and treat people the way you want to be treated by yourself. Heck, my mother's listening, you know. I got to do this the right way. So, what are you going to do when your mother's watching everything you do? What's the question? Somebody's saying, that's what we do at my work because of the high demand, but not raise the price too high for regular people. I didn't catch the beginning of that. What's also frustrating at this end with these great waves, you know, we've been making them now since, when did the first batch come out? 2015. We started it as a part of the Kickstarter campaign for opening the shop in 2014. So 2015 or so, I guess the first batch came out. As I said, now we're approaching 2,000 good copies going out into the world. And we print them about 50 or 60 sheets at a time. I sent Yamamoto-san 60 sheets for this. And I got back, he said 57 or 59, I'm not sure. I counted them last night because we had to pay him. So there's a few copies that are not so good. And usually the first test copies, the 1, 2, or 3, whatever, are going along. Or then partway along there's one that has a specifically big lump of chili or whatever. So anyway, long story short, out of each group, we've got 3 or 4 or 5 that are not so good. Some are just grotesque and no good, and some are sort of almost but not quite. And because we've been doing this now for 6 years or so, we have quite a stack of those not quite good enough ones. And they're upstairs. They're in the room where I have upstairs, a collection room. And they're in the bottom of a cupboard there. You know, and today I will see them again, because after I finish checking these, I'll put 3 more. So I'll open the cupboard, put these on top, and the stack is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's this stack here in Tokyo, in a little room in Tokyo. There's this stack of great waves, growing and growing and growing. We can't sell them, and don't even ask me, we don't do seconds, but there they are. There's this stack of prints growing and growing. And somewhere down the line, far enough down the line, when they become antiques, those little defects won't matter. It's like now, when we get a print from the Edo time, it's got a torn corner or something, whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's an antique, you know. So there's this stack of hundreds of prints that at some point, I don't even know, don't want to think about it. Not the not so great waves, so turn them into wrapping paper, you know. The girls earlier, they wanted to have an idea. They brought me some samples. They turned them into a book cover wrapping paper. And they said, look, let's do this. Let's put them out as book covers, as wrapping paper. And I said, no, that really cheapens what we have done here. I'm sorry, you know. We've spent huge amounts of effort and energy to make one of the best damn prints around. And I'm not going to cheapen it by doing that. I'm sorry, you know, so. But he's done such a good job. This is the back side of this thing, you know. Look how smooth and rich that color is, even on the back side. There's two guys who did a great job here. Yamamoto-san, the printer, and the guy who did the paper sizing. This is perfectly sized paper. Like, as in, it's not possible to do it any better than this. Look at that. When was the Great Wave originally made? Dave thinks 1832, somewhere around there. Is that the right date? Wikipedia can tell you probably more accurately than me. 1832, I think, is my best guess here. No, it was popular, clearly. It was popular when it was first made, absolutely. I know we don't have newspapers or TV, whatever, records from that day. But what we do have is records of how many, of the fact that there are more than one. Even back in its own day, we've got prints that were made from different sets of blocks. So clearly, right from the beginning, the publisher himself either ran up more block sets because demand was so high, or publishers down the street grabbed one, copied it, and ran off more block sets. But right from back in his era, there are many copies left from different block sets. 1929 to 1820, 1933, yeah, so, I think so. It's been popular right from day one, It's been forged and copied and duplicated and ripped off all the way down. And then once you got into the late 1800s and the Westerners were in Japan, they latched onto it as well. They wanted the original, and many forgers, every forger in town started making forgeries of the Great Wave. So the copies that are now in museums around the world, nobody knows. The museum people themselves are thinking, yeah, this is an original, but there's absolutely no way that anybody can tell. Why do I think it's popular? I don't know. I'm just a printmaker. You tell me. I really don't know. Just some balance of the physical balance, the scariness of the wave, the little guys in there, just the coolness. I don't know. You tell me. If I could figure this out, I'd be, I'd do it, and I'd be a rich man. But no idea. But it's a bit of a paradox in that the prints we're making here now are actually in every way technically far superior to the ones that were made back in the old days. Absolutely technically far superior. Because the mood, the ethic is different. We are trying to do a good job. The carvers and printers back then were just trying to blow stuff out as quickly as possible and get it done. So it's a bit of a funny paradox. There's lots of questions coming here. I'm sorry, I can't see all of this stuff. Zoom in again. People just joined. What we're doing at the moment, we're embossing the craftsman's names on this print. This print is finished yesterday, and this is the final step. And what we've got are Japanese characters here. Illustration. And the characters here, Katsushika Hokusai, the man who designed it. Next character is Hori, which is carving, and this is my name, Buru Davido. I carved this set of blocks. And then here we have Suri printing, and it's Yamamoto Shun, the young man who printed this for me. He's not our staff member. He's an outside printer. I ask him every month. I phoned him after I got this today. I talked to him on the phone. I said, "Come on, join us, let's go. You're hired. He says, no thanks. I want to stay independent." He won't come over. Every month we offer. It's not a question of money. We never get to the point about money. He knows we would pay very, very nicely. He could make actually more money by becoming a staff member here. But he wants to do it himself. Ah, Soka, something I meant to ask here. I need a favor. We interrupt this program to bring a request. I need a favor. Somebody who is a librarian or who has a library card in some big university or something like that. It's today's show and tell. Some prints arrived here yesterday afternoon. I picked them up on an auction a few days ago. Really, really interesting prints. We'll talk about the show and tell, but I've got to tease it now because what happened was I trying to search who made these prints and when they were made. They're a kuniyoshi design, but they're not real kuniyoshis. They're, quote, fake kuniyoshis. Not really fake. Long story short, research, Google. I get to a website that has a story written by some researchers about this set of prints that we're going to look at today. And it says, no access. I can't get in there. But it says, if you are a member of some library, if you have an official library card from blah, 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 you can log in and read the story. I want to read this story. Does anybody have a library card or, university, blah, blah? Let me find the page here. I've got a link. Hang on a sec. I'm going to put this link in here. You have a provided link, of course. Here it is. It's jstor.org. It's an academic paper of some kind. It says it's a 2-page paper, and it's talking about a kuniyoshi print series. And it's the print series that we've got in Show and Tell today. So if somebody, it's 8:32 now, you have 45 minutes. If somebody can log in there, read this, learn what it's about, and then at Show and Tell time, you can tell us the story of this print set. Let the race begin, whatever. I have, just so you know what's going on then, it's a set of prints. I have 4 of them here. We will be showing them at Show and Tell, and I myself don't know the backstory. It is in that, it's in that story somewhere. I have access to free articles. Okay, well, at the moment I don't, but okay. So I only found out about this about like 15 minutes before the stream this morning. I was Googling around trying to find a pronunciation of one of the titles of the prints so that I can show you the print without sounding like a complete fool. Well, actually, there's more too. Another one. There's so many things I could ask you guys about. At the moment, we're up putting more and more things into our online collection. And last night, a whole bunch of new stuff went online last night. It's almost every day, I could be talking about this. A whole bunch of new stuff went on the collection online last night. But one of the ones was a set of small prints about flowers. And Rose-san, who was doing our talking about this, she sent me an email saying, Dave, I don't know about these flowers. How can I find out what's going on? And I'm like, look, just upload what you know and then put a note in there asking for crowdsourcing. See if I get the link for this one here. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. I'm trying to do too many things at one time here. Where is it here? So, here it is. I'll put a link to this here then. Roseanne is asking, help, I don't know what these flowers are. And the obvious thing is, let's ask people who are flower experts. Here's the one she put up yesterday. I got so much to read, I can't. This stream then is working in three times. It's the present, it's the future. When I'm at lunchtime, I can read these questions and answer them. 3 hours in the future. And you're now working on the show and tell, which I'll be showing you 45 minutes from now. What a bizarre time slip is happening here today. Someone sent a PDF. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Only one page of text. Okay. Nine images. How many prints are in that set? I got 4. And I missed 2. There were auctions for 6 the other day. The guy put them up not as a set. He broke the thing up and put them up as 6 separate auctions. And I got 4, and then what usually happens, the same thing, you know, the person at the other end, he thinks, this guy's got 4, he's going to want the other 2. So they counterbid against you to push it up, because they know now it's set completion. So always, always, always this happens. Whenever there's a group of things that are separate on the auctions, the first few are cheap, and then the last few, the guy himself gets his friend, hey, bid against this guy, because he wants this set. So he's willing to pay much more for this. And I said, screw you. And the last 2 went too high, and I'm like, I am out of here, guy. And what will happen quite possibly is they will come around again, because it was fake bidding and it would have been not purchased. So we'll see how it goes. But at the moment, I have 4 of them from that set. Someone's from Finland, good night, thank you. Sorry I can't pay more personal attention to everybody. What are my plans for Christmas Day? I don't do Christmas anymore, I'm sorry. When I was a kid, of course, Christmas was a huge highlight of the year. My parents did a classic British/Canadian Christmas. We had tree, presents and stuff like that. It was fabulous. We're not Christians, so we don't do any of the Christian part of Christmas, but as a child, the cultural holiday. And then once I had my own kids, we did a mild Christmas. Again, we're not Christians, and we were in Japan, so it wasn't quite as as deep a fun thing as when we were back in Canada. And since my kids are gone, it's nothing. It's not even a holiday here, you know. Tomorrow is a normal working day for everybody. Cameron, Christian that he is off today and tomorrow and a couple more days, of course. And Japan has its own funny Christmas customs that you've probably already talked about, the Kentucky Fried Chicken thing. If it's going to happen this year, I don't know. So, but no, Christmas for me it's history now. Sorry. So, if I were living in Canada, near my children, near my grandchildren, I guess I'd be back in it. Sure, getting presents and all that stuff. And it was so much fun as a kid, did you know? Hunting, it was so much fun. Tell you how far back I go. When we first came to Canada, it wasn't even the Christmas presents weren't under the tree. What happened is when you went to bed, you put a pillowcase at the bottom of your bed. And maybe in the morning there might be stuff in it. And of course there was. So you wake up in the morning and there's this heavy stuff at the bottom of your bed. I remember that. My mother's here. Of course, she's done that. Put the pillowcases at the bottom of the bed, you know. How far back is that? The other thing, my mother's here, she'll remember this one too. There was a deal that, for us, we come home from school and there might be a cookie or something when we get home from school. But other than that, there was no snacking in our house between meals. Meals were meals, and like I would never in my life have gone in the fridge to open it and get something. There was no between meal stuff, no snacking. Just, it was an old thing. We got fed properly and that was that. But near Christmas, I guess sometimes guests came over, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So there's a coffee table in the living room. And my mother on the coffee table, she would put a couple of small dishes with little candy type stuff in them. And this was like from the week before Christmas to whatever after. So there's these dishes in the living room with candy in them. And like we're little kids, I'm 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, and stuff like this, And my brother and I were playing, and I'd make, get a candy, it's okay. And then 2 minutes later, you're like, I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to, maybe get a candy. And me and my brother, we're trying to take these candies and make it so that it doesn't look like the pile is getting smaller. You take one off the sides of the top. It's just, my mother must have just been laughing herself. So, the kids who just want to stuff their face with this stuff, but who, you've got to be, reasonable about this. And I still remember that, trying to take one off and the pile falls down and you try and push it back up. I wonder if she remembers that. Any comment? Mom, are you still here? Are you wrestling with your printer? Well, we had good fun. Haunting, we had good fun. Put some Kleenex at the bottom. I got to tell you, I never thought of using props. Absolutely. Put something underneath. But she would see that. I never thought of using props. It's like what, putting water in your whiskey bottle, in a scotch bottle or something. No, I never would have thought of that. And then when it gets down, of course, when there's only like 5 or 6 left, there's no way around it. There's nothing you can do. So. It was also the deal, I don't remember the exact numbers here, but my parents had a rule about this, that on Christmas morning, you don't start opening stuff. You don't touch anything until everybody is awake and everybody's had their morning coffee or whatever and everybody's assembled. It was never possible for us to wake up early in the morning and start ripping stuff off and all that kind of stuff. We were never, that was inconceivable. Number one rule, we had to wait till everybody was there, everybody was assembled, we'd take the stuff into the living room, and then what happened was it was turn by turn by turn. Again, there's no ripping packages open. We had to treat the packages respectfully. I would go, my brother would go, my sister would go, take turns, stuff like that. And the paper gets folded and put up neatly. So there was no animalistic behavior there. It was pretty restrained. And of course, we were just having so much fun, And then it was a mix of stuff, Of course, we'd get some kind of special present. Sometimes there would be something, it would be like a bicycle or something, whatever. At one time, my brother and I got a big toboggan. It was like 8 feet long, and it's standing at one corner of the living room and like, whatever, And then there'd be the usual mix. You know, for weeks before this, my mother she'd get socks and underwear and shirts, whatever. Anything that we would normally be getting would be held back, and we'd get it at Christmas. So you're opening these Christmas presents, and what is it? And you open up, and it's a pair of socks, and you're like, thank you. Whatever. So we could open our stockings before parents get up. So you had sort of a private stash you could open before anybody else. Yeah, cool. The other thing was the time. I guess it was set. Like, we'd be open at like 5 o'clock, you know, of course, and no way. So I don't know what the number was. It was maybe like 7 o'clock or something. Just stay in bed. When it gets to morning, 7 o'clock or something, then we're okay, we can all get up. I guess. I don't remember the number, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something. We were so excited. Ah, well. We had to wait till 7 o'clock. So, oh, my mother answered? There's just so much conversation here. I cannot see all this. There's comments from my mother. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Okay, she's here, I guess. Okay. Oh, waiting for Sherry. Suka. My sister's coming up. She and I have already done a Do You Remember Christmas thing. Okay, I guess. Actually, it's funny, you know, this thing I was mentioning now, the thing about the pillowcases at the bottom of the bed and stuff. This is before my sister was born. I guess she's, of course, where there's different traditions once she's arrived, but this is before she was born. So. There's a picture of me and my brother, like maybe I'm 8 and he's 6 or something like this. And this is still years before my sister was born. And we're in front of the Christmas tree. It's all been opened and the loot is there. And my dad has taken this photograph. And there's some, what do you call them? Dinky toys. Dinky, is that the word? Not the little ones. The ones about yay big. There's a tank and a truck and a garbage truck and stuff like this. They're not the little Matchbox ones. They're not the big Tonka ones that came later. Dinky toys to show. And I remember he's got a picture of this one, and it's a tank transporter with a tank on it. And my God, what kind of military toys did my parents buy us? It's whatever. And we had a tube of Tinker toys. I remember that one too. It's a round tube with these bits of wood that you stick together to make stuff. Dinky were a thing, yeah. So. Lincoln logs, I didn't see that. That's an American thing to show. We will do a Ginza in rain print as part of the Doi Hanga collaboration. I know the one you're thinking about, and the blocks are gone. We wanted to print that one, and they can't find the blocks. So we wanted to try that one, but it's not possible. It could be recarved, They have no plans for recarving anything, but we could recarve a set of blocks for that one. But the blocks for the print that we know are, I can't 100% vouch for that. We looked for it in their garage because that's one of the ones we wanted to try. So we opened this box, looked through this racks, looked through this racks. We did not do a totally 100% exhaustive search. She said she thought it wasn't there. And we looked into places where we thought it would be and couldn't find it. So it looks like those blocks are gone, but it is possible that when a totally exhaustive search of that garage takes place at some point in the next years, it may turn up, but it doesn't look like it. Okay, we're at the bottom of our pile here. Move on to some different work. Etch-a-Sketch, we had that one too. I remember that. That was great fun. Endless hours of fun. Okay, he's got a corner cut here. So let's have a look. Excuse me. Yeah, this is, okay, I see. Good. Got it? The corner's chopped. He's warning me. Dave, warning. And here it is. Look at this. And as we were saying before, we can't sell this. We can't send it out because nobody would want to have the print. They've just bought a brand new Great Wave print after waiting for a couple of years. It's going to look like this? No. So we can't send this out. But other than that, it's a great wave, you know. So if you're seeing this 100 years from now, when the paper's aged and toned and it's beaten up, that won't matter at all. But there's no way that I'm going to put my name on it and send it out right now. Excuse me. So it just goes into that stack. This will go into that stack I mentioned up on the other floor. No corner cut. This one's okay. Why was that one mixed in? So both things are true, you know. I'm not going to throw it away because that would be really, you know, a waste to throw that away. But it's also not something I can use as an article of commerce at the moment. It's not something that could go out into the world at the moment. But somewhere down the line, its day will come. Have I disagreed with the corner chops? Yes, sometimes there is, you know. Sometimes there is. And that's why he just little cuts the corner. If I disagreed with him and found it was okay, I can trim the print square and out it goes. Kubota-san, the guy who's older, who trained Yamamoto, he cuts the corners like this. And we're done. Nothing we can do. And the reason he does that is because he thinks some unconscionable publisher would still sell them. That we don't pay him for them because it's a reject, but we would then sell it. And Yamamoto-san, trust me that I won't do that. Okay, let's go. So my mother's on the way out, are you? Peaceful holiday to all chat members. Okay, thanks, Mom. Thanks for the Christmas card. Very nice. Thank you very much. And I'll call you later. Talk about this printer. We've got to get the printer up and running one way or the other. Where do we do this? Okay, time for some real work. What is it, 8:55? Yeah, let's do a few minutes of work before we get to that show and tell. Okay, let's get this lined up. Where are we? What are we doing? We finished that. Actually, we didn't quite finish around the outside of that flower. So that flower was finished. We'll get around the outside, start a leaf here. Let's see. Let's have a peek outside too for a minute. How are they coming along with that construction? Is that cherry picker still working there? Oh, he's still up there on the sign. So they're supposed to be open tonight or tomorrow. We'll see if they make it or not. No idea. Okay. Let's get to this. 15 minutes of small carving, and then yesterday, Wednesday night, the garbage setup. Thursday morning is the recyclable stuff. It's cans, bottles, cardboard, stuff like that. And we had a bunch of it prepared last night. It's sitting facing me there. Tons of cardboard all wrapped up. I was supposed to take it out last night. I can hear now the truck is down there picking up. It's too late. I could sort of try and run down the street with it now, but I don't think so. A bit too late, I think. So it'll have to sit there for another week. It's too bad. Yamada-san, he really got a lot of it prepared for me, and then I forgot last night to take it out. And actually, that was a mistake because it's New Year now. And there may not be a pickup next week. It might be too close to New Year. Next Thursday, 25. No, there won't be a pickup. That's it. I've screwed it. I've screwed myself. That was the last chance to get this stuff out of here this year. So now over the New Year holiday, I'll have all this garbage sitting here. The cardboard boxes. That was a big screw up. Housewives and stuff, you know, they're on this. They've got the calendar. The City Hall puts out the garbage calendar. I've got a copy here somewhere. I don't know where it is. There's the calendar which you stick on the wall in your kitchen and guides you on what days the garbage goes out and when the holidays are and when it's not going to be picked up and when's your last chance and stuff like that. And I missed it, so... How long is this going to take? I don't know. There's no timetable on it, so no. This is the block for the May print, so we're still well in advance. There's no rush on it yet. So. And to come the new year, my schedule is going to change a little bit. No, I don't mean the Twitch schedule. I mean my own personal schedule of what we're doing here is going to change. Because I've been procrastinating on the question of what to do with the shop space. But it's become clear that I've got to make a decision soon and get going on it. We're going to rebuild the shop here. And given that it might now be possible to start having guests come, perhaps from the spring, speaking of Japanese guests, and then perhaps from the summer, there might be some possibility of overseas visitors coming. So I had better get busy with the plan and start rebuilding this shop. So Aoyama-san and I are going to sit down in early January, decide what to do, who's going to do it, how to do it. That work is going to start soon. Sorry to ignore it, excuse me. Has the last 10 months allowed you to do more carving? No, the last 10 months had allowed me to do a lot more different types of work. Instead of doing print parties, I've been doing general management for the company. I'm the guy now who does all the paper sizing, sends the blocks out, sends the prints out, does all the wrapping and shipping every day. Today I'll be sending blocks and paper out to Kubota-san. I'm the core guy that sits in the middle now, shipping everything back and forth to all the internal people in the company. I do a bit more carving, not so much more. A lot more programming. We've had some huge system changes that have needed programming. But no. Weather conversation. So, am I thinking of getting new employees for the new shop? No, of course not. We're going to try as much as possible. The two girls who, most of the people from the shop actually are still employed, the ones who want to be employed. Some left us. Ethel and Tobias went back to Germany. Some people went out to have babies and have not come back. There's two missing, Teiko-san and Shiba-san. They're sort of in a holding pattern. They've got their own things they're doing at the moment. Shiba-san is making her own prints, and Teiko-san is taking care of her grandmother. But they're sort of in holding, and when we're ready to come back, if the virus thing is cleared out, as far as I understand, they will be ready to come back as well. But everybody else here is actually still working. So it's just those two who don't have active work for me right now. 3 of the other shop staff, Watanabe-san, Yamada-san, and Rose-san part-time, they're working on the collection. And then the production staff, they're all absolutely still busy every day of the week. The people who make prints. Nothing has changed for them except they're busier. More minutes. The thing about opening the new shop, it'll be a different kind of a skill set we need, you know. Excuse me. The skill set that the girls had before, myself and the girls, we have to be able, of course, to explain anything about all the prints that are here. People who don't know what woodblock prints are, we have to explain them. But then on top of that, we also had to do the print parties. So the staff all needed their own skills for making woodblock prints and also the skills for running an event. And then with the new shop, the focus won't be on that event. It's going to be on the prints as objects to look at and enjoy and study. So it'll be more on the knowledge for the girls. And they're going to have to study up quite a lot with each new exhibition that we do. And it'll be at first every 6 months a new exhibition, and then later every 3 months. The girls are going to have to study with me to find out what they can learn about those objects that are going to be on display, so that they can educate people what's going on. So it's a different skill set that they're going to need. You know. So. Okay, let's do this. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Show and tell. These are Oban-sized prints today, so we need to shrink this down a bit, I think. Right. Okay, I don't know how much. I gave you a reference to a research paper, and I guess people have looked at this. Has the information been posted out into the chat here? There's the story. I don't have time to sit here and read it now. The outline is here. These prints came up on an auction last week, 6 of them. I had seen these before. I knew they existed, but I never had a chance to get them in my hand and hold them and study them. And there's really an open question as to what they are. They purport to be designed by Kuniyoshi. It has Kuniyoshi's standard signature in the block. Of course, none of these things are signed on the paper. They're signed in the block. They are landscapes. There's 4 of them. This is the most vivid one. And visually, they are really, really, really interesting. And the point about this, the bigger question in the background here is the transition from ukiyo-e prints up to what we know as shinhanga. Ukiyo-e prints, the one sample that we had here, of course, everybody sort of gets the idea. It's outlines and for the most part flat color. This had a gradation, but for the most part in the ukiyo-e era, the colors were flat. There might have been a gradation at the top. It was the way landscapes were portrayed. Skip ahead to the 1920s, 30s, 40s. There's the shinhanga genre, which we all know. It's the really vividly realistic landscapes. Shaded mountainsides, trees, rivers, waters. They're not photographic, but they're the next best thing to photographic. The transition between those two, from the end of ukiyo-e into the beginning of the shinhanga, is a really blurred thing, and it's really difficult to figure out who did what first and how the transition made. Kuniyoshi did some weird and wonderful landscapes at the end of the Edo period. Seems they didn't sell very well because there's not many left behind. But it was kind of a transition away from that flat coloring. He used shadows on a few prints, which was really, really bizarre and rare at that time. Okay, this print set comes up. They're purported to be by Kuniyoshi, and they are, if you were going to draw a line halfway between ukiyo-e and shinhanga, these are it. There's a double shading inside the leaves here. There's chiaroscuro on the blocks. They have all the hallmarks of an early shinhanga type approach, but they are clearly still rooted in the ukiyo-e tradition. Did Kuniyoshi basically invent the concept of shinhanga? It would seem so, except for the fact that these are made in the 1920s. The paper is clearly 1920s Taisho era paper. Everything about them has a look and feel of a 1920s print. There's no way that these were made when he was still alive. He died in 1860 something or whatever. And these prints were created a half a century later. What's the story? The apparent story is that these were made in the Taisho period from Kuniyoshi's sketches. If that was a sketch, it means he must have left some sketches in a book somewhere. But sketches wouldn't have anything to do with color variations, color separations, or the look and feel of the print. It would just be the line drawing. So I'm not ready to give Kuniyoshi the credit for sort of semi-inventing the genre of shinhanga, because these were made in 1920s. And by then, Bartlett is up and running, Yoshida is up and running, shinhanga is already on its up and running. And this is the question. So this is the big, big question. Were these made from sketches in the 1920s, or were they made from leftover blocks from the original publisher? The thing is, nobody ever, that I've been able to see so far, nobody ever has found one of these prints not printed on this Taisho paper. So if there were original blocks, they didn't make any prints from them. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And this is a hugely, hugely interesting mystery. How much do we credit Kuniyoshi for the, quote, invention, unquote, of shinhanga? If these were really made when he was alive, designed and first printed back in the 1860s, then this guy gets the credit, because he has kicked it off. He's blown apart ukiyo-e, done look and feeling and weather and mood, all the things that are the hallmarks of shinhanga. He or his publisher back in the 1860s. But we don't have any prints. All we have is this stuff from the 1920s. Look at this. It looks like a Tomikichiro Tokuriki print from Kyoto in 1940. This is bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. These, of course, are all real places. This is Yuki no Kinkakuji. This is a snowy view of Kinkakuji Temple in Kyoto. This one is, oh, it's a bit funky Japanese. It's Hashidate. It's, the real place is called Amano no Hashidate. Hashidate, how do you pronounce it? In the middle of Yuki, Uchu, Hashidate Uchu Kaminari. Amano Hashidate, in the middle of the rain, Kaminari, lightning. This one, this is a real place. This is, it's closed now. You're not allowed to go there. Nikko, Urami Taki. Urami means looking from the backside. There was this waterfall in Nikko where you're allowed to walk behind it and look out. And it's, I understand it's closed because the erosion has destroyed that path. But in these days, it still was a thing. So when I saw these on an auction the other day, I thought, oh my God, maybe they're the Edo copies. Maybe, oh my God, maybe. And no, of course not. This is the Taisho stuff. It's very poor quality paper, the Taisho. And if I was going to guess which way around this is, I think they were made from sketches. I don't think these are original blocks from the Edo era at all. Look at stuff like this. There's no way any Edo designer would have been caught dead doing something like this. Look at this. This is okay, that's the fence. Look at this mountain. Straight line, wiggle, 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 wiggle. There is no way, no way. What this is some guy like Dave. If you imagine me getting a hold of Kuniyoshi's sketchbook or saying, I can make some prints out of this, but I'm a klutz. Straight line, going to this funny wiggle pattern which has no taste whatsoever, gets to a smaller wiggle pattern. Actually, he started this way around. He started doing little small wiggles. Then bit by bit, he got tired of this, so the wiggles become a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger. He says, oh, screw this, and he just draws a straight line. This is a klutz, taking somebody's concept and making a set of wood blocks for it. So my guess on this is that that's all this is. This is a 1920s era publisher getting a hold of those sketches and saying, I think we can make something fun with this. And he did. And he mixed in whatever the current feeling was, that the knowledge of Shinhanga that was growing, even the Kyoto tourist prints were then starting to come out. He mixed that stuff into it, put Kuniyoshi's name on it, and he is, I believe, rolling over in his grave when he sees these and when he thinks about these. So I think that's my guess on what these are. Do I know? No, I have no idea. Does anybody know? No, unless something turns up. If an older print made on nice washi, clearly from the 1860s, if such a thing turns up, then we'll know that that's the story, that these were created from Kuniyoshi's work when he was still alive. It's so ham-handed. I mean, look at this. Well, could they have been done as forgeries? Forgeries of what? I mean, if you show me the original, then we can compare how these are done to the original. You can't make a forgery unless you've got something to work as a reference to, you know. So I don't know. I really don't know. We also have no sketches left that could have been used. Look at this. It's so ham-handed. They're interesting. They're really, really interesting. And if they were real, if this was part of the genesis of Shinhanga, then these would be spectacularly interesting and useful. An ukiyo-e artist sloppily splashing this out to try and make a kind of a realistic work. This would be incredibly valuable as part of the knowledge of how the stuff changed. But I don't think that's what happened. I think this is a 1920s era publisher with a bunch of ham-fisted employees who didn't really know how to put it together, or who were trying to make it look like something like this, you know. I mean, look at this. This is worse than I would have done if I were trying to make scenery, you know. Anyway, there it is. I saw them on auction last week, a few days ago. As I said, there were 6 of them on the auction. I scored the first 4, and then the last 2 started to go higher, and that's to the point where I bail out because it's really a classic case here in Japan. the auction owner will jump in or get his friend to jump in and bid you up as soon as they know you want something. So I just bailed out. I don't want them that badly. There's also, see this, white spots? We've seen these before, right? How many? You guys all know what to look for these days. The white spot here is a sail. That's okay. We carved that out. The white spot here is a reflection. That's okay. The white spot up here, it's a mistake. There's an area that should have been on the sky block or should have been on the green blocks, and the carver missed it. They carved one block a bit too far. They're interesting, you know. They are interesting. Just it's really curious what in the world these things are. It's funny, if it's bad art made by an iconic guy who is just trying to break the bonds a little bit, then it becomes good. But if it's bad art just made by clumsy people in imitation of what a good guy would have done, then it's just bad art. And I have no idea which it is. And I'm not in any position to make a decision. Later on, if originals turn up, we will know what the answer is. If they don't, we're just left in the middle here with our suspicions of what they are. So they'll go in the collection. We'll scan them and photograph them. They'll be up online, not tomorrow, but at some point they'll be up online, because they really, really, really are interesting. Didn't cost much either. I think I paid about 2,000 yen each for them, somewhere on there, 1,500 yen each. I don't know. They have no value at all. So coming out. Yeah, that's supposed to be lightning, of course. Of course, this is lightning. This is similar to a typical ukiyo-e version of lightning. It's Hashidate, which is the place name. Ame no naka, which is pronounced, I think it's pronounced uchu. I'm sorry. Hashidate, uchu, ame no naka, kaminari. Why they would make both things. This one is Nikko Urami Taki, the waterfall seen from the back in Nikko. This one is Yuki no Kinkakuji. And the fourth one, I don't know the pronunciation of these, but we all know what this is. This is Itsukushima in Miyajima, in Hiroshima. Someone's talking about whiskey label. Is that the person who sent me the image yesterday? Somebody sent me yesterday an image of whiskey label with what looks like a Kuniyoshi print on it, and he asked me, Dave, can you identify this print? And actually, I tried to find it and couldn't find it. So is that the conversation going on here, a whiskey label? Did I contact the seller? No, there's been no reply. We have sent the letter out. There's been no reply yet from the person who's got the third print of the three. So there's a ton of chatter. I'm going to have a ton of fun at lunchtime today reading through this with my pie. I'm going to Pie Face today to get lunch. There's a pie shop around the corner which has what they think are Australian pies. We have an Australian girl working for us, and she says that's what they think. Whatever. But they're fine. They're fine by me. Will I be streaming on Saturday morning? Yes, I'll be here 2 days from now, Saturday morning, Friday night, UK time. Oh, because it's Christmas, you mean? Christmas, we don't do Christmas. So yes, I'll be here Saturday morning, same time, same station. Same time, same station. Okay, I've missed 99% of this. I will catch it when I can catch it. Thanks so much for joining in. We'll be here again Saturday morning for probably a normal carving stream, and then it's whatever. We'll see what we can find for show and tell. This is so much fun. Okay, guys. Happy Christmas to you. For those of you that do Christmas, and please enjoy your Christmas with your family, whatever time you get to. For me, there's lots to do here. I'll keep at it. Saturday morning. See you again 2 days from now. Thanks for watching again. Bye for now.